Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight is a powerhouse character actor whose face you've probably seen lighting up some of your favorite shows, whether it's stealing scenes in Brooklyn Nine-Nine or diving into intense drama with NCIS or showing up in fan favorites like For All Mankind. He's done it all. You might also recognize him from a few of his funniest commercials on TV. Trust me, the guy's got serious range. Now he's stepping into the gripping world of The Cleaning Lady for its highly anticipated fourth season on Fox. Ladies and gentlemen, give a huge pop culture welcome to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brian Norris. I so appreciate you being here tonight and sharing your journey with us and talking about all your stuff. Let me do the get to know you portion for the audience. This is where we get to peek behind the scenes of the characters. Let's get to know the guy, Mr. Brian Norris. What is your military connection?
Oh, my Uncle James flew in the Air Force. So we grew up always going to Atlanta to Peachtree City. That's where they lived. I don't know if anybody knows the area, but that's like a pilot's community. That was just a part of our lives. It really gave me like a personal connection to service. And definitely helped me like see that there's people behind all of that. And I feel like the folks who don't have that active connection, it's really hard to understand. No, it's just people. It's really brave, wonderful, kind human people who are up there. And so that was it's a good thing to get early.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. Well, we thank him for his service. You said he flew. Would you happen to know? I know it's more of an insider question. You know what he flew or? Big ones, little ones?
I don't. He was actually getting his commercial pilot's license by the time I was coming into the equation, and so for most of my life, he was a pilot for Delta, and it was cool whenever we got to be on one of his flights.
That's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate him. We thank him for his service. Second question. Gotta ask. We are pop culture themed. We all geeks and nerds and love our stuff. What do you geek out about?
Okay, the thing that I'm the most geeked out about right now, for anyone online, you're going to see this. I wish I had better ones on right now, but these are Golden State Warrior socks with Steph Curry's number 30 on them. I'm from Oakland. I bleed blue and yellow. I wish they were still in Oakland, but even in San Francisco. Steph Curry is my hero. I don't know if a single person has done more to make my life better that I don't know than that man. And honestly, like a whole bunch of them, but especially him. And growing up in the Bay, I don't know if you all know this, but before Steph Curry, they were the worst team in any sport. People didn't even know that there was a Golden State Warriors basketball team. And so seeing that, it actually like gave me hope that things that I thought could never get better would. Like I am a more optimistic person because of that.
I'm a Giants fan, so I get you loud and clear. We're on the downside of that, so I get you. Wait,
real quick, New York Giants or San Francisco Giants? I just realized
fair point. The Blues should give it away, but New York. I
was guessing, but I didn't want to go all the way because I was like, I don't actually see football gear happening here, so maybe
off the side.
My dear friend Ron, if you're listening, Ron, shout out to you. He's the biggest Giants fan I know, and when they got the Arizona State running back, I just got
scatterboo.
Text, meme. So,
God, he's gonna
congratulations.
So We're so excited. Anyway,
get one quarterback though at some point, right? You have like 7, right?
I mean, yeah. It's like we got like 5. It's fine. But for you, sir, let's peel back the onion. Let's start at the beginning. What first drew you into acting, and when did you realize that maybe, this isn't a hobby. This is a career choice. This is what we're going to do.
Okay. So I got to take you back. I got to take you way back.
Take us.
I'm a kid. I'm like 8 or 9 years old. And I am, what's the phrase? I'm not fun to be around. I'm allergic to everything and I cry constantly. So I'm the worst. So my parents are figuring, what do we do with this kid? And for some reason they thought, with all of his allergies, let's send him to Roughing It Day Camp. You're talking like hikes in the woods and you're playing with horses and stuff and you're swimming and all that was bad for me. But at the time I was terrified to swim. I can swim now. But you had to do this tip a canoe thing to go on the canoe thing, which I didn't even want to go on because I was scared. And right when it was time to do it, I just burst into tears and I started telling them all about the motorboat accident in Lake Tahoe and how we nearly died. And my dad, he hurt his shoulder, but he got us to safety. They call my mom. They say, Mrs. Norris, we can't help your son if you don't tell us these traumas that happened to him. And she's like, I'm sorry, what? So the next summer, she put me in Shakespeare camp. And it turned out that for this little weird 9-year-old, that was heaven. I found my people, I found fun, I found acting. And then my parents just kind of kept saying, like, oh, we got a thing. We got a thing going for him. He's happy here. And I think they made a mistake. They probably should have put me in something just like for fun. And they accidentally put me in the kids San Francisco training program if you want to be a child actor. And so I ended up at this place called Kids on Camera, run by Judy Berlin, who I think was Big Bird at one point. The big client at the time was Andy Morris, who was the voice of Andy in Toy Story, still a friend to this day. And that led to like getting represented really early, which my parents were like, what is happening here? I don't quite get it. And I found myself, I found my identity, I found what I was good at, I found what I liked, I found a way to understand a world that was not understandable to that point. And then I just never stopped. It started with theater, I went to UCLA for theater from there, had some brushes with some real jobs, almost on all that. I was almost on Almost Famous. It's kind of funny.
Almost famous.
Yep. But found my way kind of after college, and then basically after graduating, this has been what I've done with my life ever since.
Oh, that's fantastic. And was there any particular role early on that, because obviously I'm not an actor, but I can imagine, it's like a high schooler playing football wanting to be in the NFL. There's a very large leap to I'm doing this now versus this is going to be a career. So where was that particular role that connected and you went, okay, this can be something that I can do. Like I can survive on this.
Luck and delusion will do a lot for a man. The thing is like I started doing it in like summer camp. It was just a fun thing. But because they put me in the stuff they put me in, there was quickly this professional element to it. And so just early on, it was like, oh, I can audition to be in a TV show. I think my first audition that I ever had was for, I'm going to butcher the name. It's like Big Kid, Little Indian or something. It's a Tim Allen movie.
Okay.
Which would never be made today, where he like adopts a boy from far away. And I'm sure the politics of that are very complicated now. But it was like played, I guess, like a native boy. I don't even know. I'm talking about this. I'm like, what the hell were we doing? But it was like, if I do this, then I'll get to be with the guy from Home Improvement. And then it's not like I booked a ton, but I was doing professional stage work. I was doing an episode of Nash Bridges, and Cheech Marin is hanging out with me, and Don Johnson's telling me I'm cool, and it just seemed like, this is what I do. A lot of people, their first job, they're mowing lawns. They're doing things like they're doing hard work for no money. My first job was I modeled for Mervyn's. Mervyn's was like Kohl's. It was like a Bay Area West Coast kind of thing. To be a Sunday catalog, and I was little, but I was like, oh well, this job is easy. So whatever I'm being paid must be nothing compared to what people who do hard work must be. And I was getting paid probably like $100 an hour, and so I'm thinking, dude, he's helping like move stuff. My God, you're rich. The world was very confusing to me. It's true when they say that certain parts of Hollywood will just like mess with your brain. Value of $1 took a minute to figure out. It was once those checks stopped coming, I was like, wait, what do I have to do to earn money now? Are you kidding me?
Well, and we've had this conversation on this show before where I've talked to many actors, and it's like you do get paid really well for the work that you do, but it's somebody said it best when they're like, the money you're making is for all the things you didn't get. It's for all the work you did off set, off the page, off the screen, the classes, the headshots, the agents, the managers. It's all that is why you get paid the big bucks, less for the work that you actually do.
It's true. I mean, the money is good on like a per hour basis, but to be honest, the economics of Hollywood changed too, man. It's not what it used to be. And I'm not complaining. I love this job. I would do it as long as I could feed my family. Like that's kind of my baseline there. But it used to be that you'd do 22 episodes of a TV show and it would be playing again. And each time the residual was very real money. People who were the last lead on a TV show for 5 years could buy a house. And that now is a much more complicated
Yeah.
proposition. And so I mean, we're definitely well paid compared to some professions for sure, but I don't know. I feel like almost every profession and industry is kind of going through a thing right now of like, man, the money ain't what it used to be.
It doesn't stretch. It doesn't stretch as far as it used to, right? Unless
Oh
you buy
no.
less groceries, you have
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, you have less maids, less cleaners, there's less, there's
Let the staff go, honey.
yeah, quiet,
What
quiet on
staff?
set. The entourage is a bit smaller nowadays
Yeah.
than it used to
Yo, where'd
be.
Turtle go? He was supposed to cook me breakfast. Yo, we had to lay him off, man.
Oh, it's so tough. It's so tough. I mean, and we could have a whole separate conversation about just the economics of it because I do think it's like uh, there's so much at play, and I again from an outsider's perspective, I always look at it and I look at it the same way I look at sports athletes or these guys that get paid an exorbitant amount of money, and it's like the leeches come out of everywhere and will figure out ways to suck that every last dollar and
Thing
bit.
is, if you pop in something that has a big like supply demand issue,
Yeah.
you're somehow able to get out ahead of a bunch of people who want the same thing you want. And so like it's not surprising to me that people are kind of looking for some shine if they're seeing that someone that they know has it. Like I feel like there's something really human about that. It's also hard if you're the one who has it at that time to figure out how do you be charitable and how do you have boundaries, and it's complicated, but I feel like that's human. I feel like if we were all like cavemen and somebody found like a bunch of berries, we'd be like, yo, hook me up.
That's when you bring out the big stick. That's
Yeah. But you eat them first and make sure they're not gonna kill you like that Into the Wild kid, because I don't want that.
No, I mean, look, let's be real for a second. When was the first like random uncle or cousin that reached out to you and was like, "Hey, I got this thing. If you just invest a little bit of money, I can imagine that happens."
I will not ever name names. I doubt anyone's listening to this, but one of my wife's uncles was like, "Hey, I got a cool stock that I would like to like invest in for like a mine somewhere." And I was like, "You realize that like I don't have the money you think I have." And also, no. The bigger one though is I remember back in my single days is after you were on TV, you'd get texts and you'd be like, "Oh, you saw."
Yeah, Mr. Moneybags over there, Mr. Hollywood. Yeah, you start getting the random texts. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm a nobody streamer, and I have people knocking on my door. Oh, look at you, big deal now. You interviewing these Hollywood people. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
So you know what? Yeah. Help me pay for the mic, and I
yeah,
will.
them streaming licenses, man. They pricey. They catch up. They build up on you. So you've done everything from commercials to hit TV shows. Is there an early gig that's still like super memorable for you? And I'm curious,
Yeah.
like give us a high and maybe a low, just to give people an example of early acting life, right? Not everybody starts at the AAA, Quentin Tarantino kind of movie, like give us some of the juice.
Well, if we're talking about like the actual like the thing, like the actual acting, it all kind of clicked for me doing a play when I was a junior in high school. My family was kind of falling apart. I was really angry at my dad, and we were doing this Greek play that I didn't care about. It's called Antigone. It was all about this. There's a war going on, a civil war, and Antigone's sister or brother dies, and she wants to bury the body, and the family they say you can't bury it. And I played her betrothed, her boyfriend, and who's yelling at his dad to like change his mind. And I remember that at some point I started yelling at this poor guy John. It was just another junior in my high school, like I was yelling at my dad. And it wasn't like I was just there. I was touching all of it, and I was like, oh, got it. Got it. This is the thing we've been talking about. So that definitely kind of like I'm onto something. I know the thing that I'm looking for now. In terms of a gig that really made me feel like, okay, I can do this. There's a couple that come to mind, but one is a show that I wish had gotten a little bit more time. It was called Awake. It was on NBC. It had Jason Isaacs, who was just on White Lotus. He's Lucius Malfoy, wonderful actor. Lots of great people on that show. Cool pitch for the show. It's a cop show. He's been through in a car accident. His wife didn't make it. His son did. He's getting through it. They are together. He's got a therapist and a partner and a case. And every time he goes to sleep, he wakes up. Same life, but now the car accident, his wife made it. His son died. He has a different therapist, a different partner, a different case. And every time he wakes up, he switches reality. He doesn't know which one's real. Coolest show. If anyone's listening, reboot that, but put it on something that does like 8 episodes. But I remember getting that audition. And I remember the character was basically, he was the murderer that week. Spoiler. But it's the story, we've heard it from the news about finding out that a sperm doctor has been using his own stuff for all of the people. And so this kid figures it out and is taking revenge. And I remember just getting just pages of these emotional monologues all about like why I was right. And at the beginning of working on it, I was like, I don't believe any of this, man. I don't know. That didn't happen to me. And I just sat with it and spent time with it and spent time like applying all the stuff that I've been working on for years. And all of a sudden I was like, no, I know what he's thinking about here. And I know what he wants. I know what he's doing. I know what I'm doing here. And then all of a sudden I found myself in a scene across an incredible actor. I'd be like, I think I'm doing most of the heavy lifting here. And not because he's not doing great, because the story is asking me to do it.
Right.
I think I'm just doing the thing right now. And it's not just that kid, I'm just going to get up there and feel and imagine like there's a thing that I'm working towards and creating up here, and it's working with him. And if I'm able to do that, like we're on to something. Mm-hmm. And that was a big moment. Okay. Here's the most embarrassing audition story.
Here we go.
This one isn't great. I got an audition for some movie of the week. It's based on a real life, really sad story about he was a closeted kid whose family had found out and was sending him to like a re-education camp. Mm. And it's based on a real story, and the kid died there. So we're talking like heavy stuff, but I think like Sigourney Weaver was going to play the mom, and I had this chance to audition for it. And it's funny, I'm normally really good with the emotional work, but for some reason I psyched myself out on this. It's just crying constantly, and I didn't have that life experience. I knew people who had similar things, but it wasn't my story. And so I'm nervous about this audition, man. I got to cry a lot. I think like, okay, well, what if it's not going to happen? What's a way to cry if you don't want to cry? Onions. Onions will make you cry. And so I give it a little shot, and I cut up a little onion and put a little here, and guess what? It makes your shit burn. And all of a sudden it's going. I'm like, okay, I got a backup plan. So then 12 hours later, I'm in a room. This is when you still actually went into rooms to audition, and there's 15 other people in a small room. They all look like you, and they're all ready for the exact same thing. And it's just redhead who reeks of onions, because I got a baggie in both pockets, baby. I'm ready to go. And at the time, casting directors are doing their best, but when we had that many people in the room, you were almost always running behind. Just like it's just nature of the beast. It happens, and so you have more time to worry about it, more time to go over it, more time to practice your onions. And so by the time I go in there, I smell like a hamburger. I've been thinking about should I do this, should I not, 1,000 times. And worst of all, it turns out that after you do that a few times, it stops working. It's just like your body gets used to it. They're like, whatever we needed, we sent you that. That pH balance has been fixed, sir. And so I'm in there, and I'm like, the onions aren't working. And I'm trying to squeeze them all over my face. And look, there's some casting directors who think I'm good at my job. Not this one. And you know what? That day she was right.
I could just imagine you just one second, and you're just slathering onions all over your face. It's just it's
maybe
not working.
I'm just trying to cry, but really, I'm like, at what point? I wish I could have been in her brain. At what point does she go, no way, no way? Oh my God! That tape exists somewhere. She must have kept that.
Oh God, that's if for $1 million, right?
Hey, may my career get big enough that video is worth something to somebody.
And reminder to everybody in the chat too, if you have questions about all these fantastic stories or anything else from Brian, put them in the chats and we will get to them as they apply. But continuing on, because this is gold. By the way, we're clipping that. That is the social media post for next week, just so you know. So look forward to that tag. Maybe we can find her. Maybe we can find her. Reconnect you guys after all this time. Who knows? It'd be what a great
Incredible.
story.
We'll be
What a
back on
great
night
story.
next week. Really reconnecting.
So and dude, like you're hitting all my questions because I had a question about uh what's the crazy Hollywood audition story, which I mean how can you top that one? People that you worked with, I mean, you answered that one. I mean, like, this is awesome. You're killing it. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, man. Oh, you're asking me questions. I appreciate it.
It's almost like you've done this before. You do this for a living, or I don't know. So,
Professional podcast guest.
what, what, I always have this thought of any of us that are doing any said thing, and trying to make it professionally. I always think like, oh, I have a podcast, and like, oh, if I could just get to this level, this is success for me, right? Maybe not Joe Rogan level, but somewhere in there. But so like, I think back into your early days, like what was that benchmark for you? What was that? If I can just do this XYZ, or if I could afford the Maserati, or like what's success for me early on?
Oh man, so I always, a lot of actors I think have a little bit more of a rebellious spirit than I do. I always knew I wanted to be married. I wanted to be a dad. I wanted some things that are kind of pretty traditional for the world that maybe for actors are not always the first thing. So for me, I mean, this shows also how different the world was and how naive I was. But my thought was like a house. That like if I can buy a house, isn't that the thing that people can do with their jobs? And now that's a
Mm.
more complicated thing. I would say that if I were doing it now, it would be, can I get married? Can I have a kid? Can I make my health insurance? If I can do those things. But when I was younger, so when I got out of school, I would get onto jobs early and I would look for the guys who were not the lead, but who at the table read had a wedding ring on. And then I'd find them and I'd corner them and I'd say, I know what you're being paid. How are you doing this? Explain it. So I remember I was like such a little shit. I was on the like fifth episode of Mad Men or something like that. It was before the show became a big deal, but everyone's there and they're like helmeted hair and their fancy things. And I'm just like, so how much does a wedding cost? Who is this kid? But they all told me the same thing: born rich, married rich, or passive income. And I was like, nope, maybe, what? Um, but then later, a cool thing happened. The most lucrative job I ever had, and kind of strangest, was I was the voice of Wendy's fast food for 5 years. And that's a dope job. That's rolling up into a recording studio in your Steph Curry jersey, and they'll make you a coffee, and then you talk about square burgers for a little while, and then you make enough money to actually have a life. It's wild. It's great. Incredible 5 years. So I did buy a house during that time, and that did hit the like, I fucking did it. Pardon my French, but yeah, I fucking did.
You did, man.
moment.
You fucking did it. Absolutely.
But here's the one you want. Here's the egregious fun thing, and this loops back to where we started with all things Steph Curry. So this is coinciding with 2015. Steph Curry is making his first run towards the finals. I have never seen a legit playoff run in my life. And I think I have some money right now. I got this like cool little BMW I'm driving around that I'm leasing. Like life feels full of hope. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss this. That poor guy has ankles that are made of toothpicks. I'm going to see a playoff game. I'm not missing this. I didn't know there was a dynasty coming. And so each series, I would drive myself along PCH in my fun little car, and I would go up to Oakland, and I would buy one ticket to the playoff game. And I was like, I'm going to make a memory I'll never forget in my life. I have the chance to do this now. I might not later, and I'm not missing it. They won every single game I went to. I went to one in every single round. I saw him beat LeBron in the finals. I would go there and I'd be alone, and people would be like, who are you here with? And I'd be like, I'm here with you. I'm here with them. And they'd be like, he's here with us. Get him a beer. I didn't pay for anything. I mean, it was like community. It felt like a miracle. It just felt like something good. It just shook out for me during that time, and I will never forget it. I feel so bad for my wife. I met her after all that, and she's like, so what was that like? I was like, this is pretty great.
was good. It was good.
It
I
was good.
I, I connect with you. Not about me, but I got to be on the field at MetLife Stadium the last time they had a playoff run that they won the Super Bowl. They had one home game. I was there. I was on the field. I got to do the flag on the
Nice.
field. What and it's like what a memory where you're like I may never, and at this point I may still never get to see that again. So to be there,
I know that's
playoff game on the run to the Super Bowl, man, what a oh god, what a
last
dream.
year I took my wife and daughter to the Bay for the first time, and I'm heartbroken because the A's are dead to me. John Fisher, sell the team. John Fisher, sell the team. Sacramento A's are dead to me. But we went to one of the final games in Oakland, not like the last series, but I took her. They played the Dodgers. We saw Ohtani hit a home run, and the A's won. And I got a video of my daughter doing, "Let's go Oakland." I'm like, oh, cool. I want to live a lot longer, but I'm a little step closer to being able to die happy. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. That happened. Check.
that's awesome. Oh god, I love it. I love it when the kids. I got a little 7-year-old boy. When it's like he doesn't even follow sports, but it's when he's like, "Yeah, let's go, Big Blue," and you're like, "Ah, God, I did something right."
For the first 3 years of her life, I convinced her that when you have a picture taken, you should say Steph Curry and not cheese. And she got for her birthday all of the kids to do it with her. And I was like, I've had an effect on the world.
That
It's
is
small, but it's
awesome.
mighty, you know?
Oh God, we're such great parents.
Right?
We're not leaving them with childhood trauma at all.
Hey, I took my daughter to the park today and I paid attention most of the time.
Most of the time, I
Yeah,
had my phone lined up where I could keep one eye on her, and yeah, we're good.
exactly. Yeah. I push the
uh,
swing.
so, I mean, you have, I mean, popped up. I was cyber stalking you. I was doing the IMDb's and looking you up and the wikis, and like you've been in a lot of shows that like I know I've loved, and so many people. My Name Is Earl, Mad Men, Veronica Mars, The Unit, Lie to Me, Community. It goes on and on and on. Like what is that experience like? So like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, NCIS. How is it different walking onto the set of like a very well established, well oiled machine versus like maybe being there day one of like a new show and they're trying to figure out what break it down for us
Yeah.
simpletons, us non
Well,
guys.
to the not initiated to that specific thing. It's hard actually. Don't get me wrong. The community in Hollywood is way more welcoming than people give it a reputation for it. There's this thing wrong. Every place has tough people, but for the most part, it's really familial. It's really kind. Like if you're going to be a part of this thing, everyone's invested in something bigger than themselves. And it's cool. If you're not a big part of it, though, it's like they're having a party and you showed up. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you. It means they don't really know who you are.
Mhm.
And they understand that you also won't be here for longer than maybe a week, maybe only a day. And so it's not that they're going to be rude, it's that there's no real reason for them to invest that much time in a busy day where there's a lot of things to spend your time on. And so you can really feel like you might be in the way. Like that's the biggest thing. And so figuring out how to make relationships feel comfortable and realize like, oh no, that's not that you did something. That's just there's a big corporation that's in the middle of doing a complicated thing and you are jumping in midstream and the best thing you can do is jump in and hit it.
Mhm.
And like you do that and almost always everything kind of slows down. I don't even mean hit it, be genius. I mean help them. Be a
Right.
useful part of the team rather than like, oh, I'm so worried about me right now. No, how can I help you?
Yeah, not trying to be. Oh, the focus is on me, right? Like I'm not. I don't want to say set dressing. That sounds horrible, but like I'm here to be to
But
further
stories
your thing.
stories stories are about usually one person at the end of the day. And then everything that comes from that, every other character in a story is there to help that person, teach that person, thwart that person, be a foil to that person. And there's a physics to how stories work. Like the scene I told you about Jason Isaacs, he's I'd offer him a part over me. My God, that guy's fucking incredible and everything that he'd bring to the table. That scene was asking more of my character. That's just the physics of it.
Mm.
I did Community, when that happened, I was on the top of Runyon Canyon on a hike. It's a LA hike area, and I get a call saying they had a last minute need on Community. Can you be there in 45 minutes? I was like, I'm on the top of a mountain.
Yes.
Can I shower? They said no. I said, I'll be there. But there, quickly you come in, and it's an episode where it's all about they're doing like the chicken finger mafia. It's like a Goodfellas parody. And like, I'm a punchline to a joke. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, literally, Chevy Chase is getting funny things, and I'm the third one. And so it's like, boom. And I'm like, my name is Travis. Like, my job is not to take up a lot of space. My job is to basically be someone who's confused why they're there. And you know what? I was pretty surprised because I was in the middle of a hike and my dog, I think, was like with a friend in the car. So you
Nailed it.
fight in your way, but other times you're going to be there for the week and you might be there longer. And that's the moment that, I did an episode of Longmire. I don't know if you know that show. That was a really great kind of modern Western. Lou Diamond Phillips was on that show. I grew up watching him play Richie Valens. Like, I was like, this is cool. And we were all shooting that show in Santa Fe in New Mexico, and no one lived there from the main cast. We're almost all being flown out there. And I remember just the first day, he's like, you're cool. I like you. I'm having the cast over. I like cooking. I'm just going to cook for everybody. My family's there. Do you want to come over? It's like, yeah, I do. And so that's the other half of it, is it's not personal when it's less, but God, if you are in there, you do feel like you're part of a family. You feel like you're all taking an adventure together, grabbing hands and leaping. And that's pretty neat.
That's awesome. When you were talking about, kind of coming in and being on the outside of it, I couldn't help but think it almost, and tell me if I'm way off base here, but almost like this idea of you are a transfer student showing up at graduation. like, everybody knows each other and you're just like, well, I guess I'll just stand here until the end of the day. And,
I did a season finale of a show once. I did the season finale of New Amsterdam. And it really felt like that because it was literally the last days of shooting. And they're all thinking, spring break. There's like food trucks and parties and interviews to do. And some of them are going off to do a movie or a trip or have a kid or like do all this stuff. And they're all done. And we're like, yeah, this is my second and then third and then last day. And this is all that I'm going to do here. I remember for that one, they actually shot out the series regulars a couple of days before, and it was just us on set, a lot of the guest cast for the last couple of days. And that was awesome. Just having the experience of like, oh, someday when this is my show, not this one, but this is what it's like. And you get some real practice. It's almost like fourth quarter of an NBA game that's out of hand. Like, you get some NBA minutes though.
Yeah.
And you get to know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And I mean, so lucky to get those opportunities because they don't come around often.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And yeah, Awake was a phenomenal show. I really liked it. I really did. And wish that it lasted a lot longer than it did. Cause that, like you said, it was such a I love twisty concepts and we have the procedural dramas and we have the, multicam sitcoms and those are all great and all that. But we were just talking about this, like even like a video game, give me something new. Give me something fresh. Give me a new mechanic, a new perception, a new something. That's where the good stuff is, man. Oh, that's good. I like it. Is there a particular genre that you naturally gravitate towards? Comedy, drama, sci-fi, or do you just kind of, hey, whatever I can get my hands into, we make the most of it?
Well, I mean, in terms of working, I mean, I love what I do. I'll take anything. And I've been lucky to get to do a couple different things. And that's pretty dope. So I'm not complaining about that at all. But if I'm honest, the thing that I'm like the most attracted to as an actor and as an audience member it's interesting. It's taking like a piece of what you're talking about, but it's applying it somewhere else. It's to me when I feel like I'm watching something that feels new about real people. When I feel like, no, they're talking about the experience that I'm having on this planet, but it's not my experience, or it's a new way to get there. So for me, The Pit right now on Max, I don't know if there's a show I like more and I'm like more consistent. Like, I just like hanging out with all those people. Like if it's bad, I'm with them for it. If it's funny, I love it. It feels, I feel like I'm in that hospital with them. And then the one that's knocked my socks off right now, it's heavy. It's so good though. It's Adolescence on Netflix. That thing is tough, but it's all in one shot, and it's
That's
taking place
right.
almost like the first episode's all in a police station. It's taking place after like a young boy has killed a girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens to the parents, to the people, to the cops? And I hadn't seen that story told that way. And I was like, oh man, it's making me feel about being a father, a parent, a person. That to me is the absolute best.
Mm.
But then, also throw me some Star Wars or some Scream, and I'm thrilled.
You got to. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. A little superhero movie here and there.
Well, and also after doing the cleaning lady, like I'm ready to take a Claret and do a Western. Let's go.
Like, they're getting a real resurgence, man. With was it 1923 and Goldmine, all these different
Oh,
shows. Like there's westerns. I was saying westerns and horrors are really on the rise lately.
oh yeah.
It's Hollywood. I mean, you know this better. You can speak it better than me, but I've noticed that it's very cyclic in that vampires are hot for a while, and then it's zombies, and then it's superheroes, and it's just riding
Well,
that
right now
wave.
it should be pretty cool to you. It's the thing I think is pretty neat. Is like this is the video game time. That's the era we were in. There might be other stuff too, but the dominant thing that was different is the biggest movie of the year is Minecraft.
Yep, the
Like
Super
that
Mario
just
Brother
wasn't
movie, and yeah,
The Last of Us is the biggest TV show on
yes.
television by like at least by pop culture, zeitgeist space that it takes up. And that just wasn't. I remember being a kid and the Super Mario Brothers movie came out, and I don't mean the animated one. I mean the one that like is a
John
drug.
Leguizamo, yeah.
I mean, incredible cast. Yeah. Carla Gugino looking so good
Oh
as Princess
God,
Peach. What? Dennis Hopper
that's
as
Bowser.
Bowser?
Yeah, yeah.
Bob Hoskins from Who Framed Roger Rabbit as Mario, and the whole thing's so weird. They play it that their first and last name are Mario. He's Mario and Luigi Mario. What were people smoking for that? Was that like David Lynch doing that?
we we've talked about this, that the 80s was a different time, and there was just a lot of cocaine in those boardrooms. There's just a
Yeah.
lot of
Well,
drugs.
Super Mario 2 is super weird because it wasn't supposed to be a Mario game, but then they like put the Mario skin on it. I'm
Right.
convinced that's what the Super Mario Bros. Movie is. It was some weird like steampunk sewer movie, and they're like, this isn't working. Put some red plumbers in it. Put another
Yep.
guy in green next to him. Let's go.
Yep. A couple of quick changes, put on color correction in the After Effects, and boom, you're done.
Yeah,
Uh,
but like you're telling me like I, if you told me that within the next 10 years a Red Dead Redemption movie won Best Picture, I believe you. I
I,
don't know
I
whether it's gonna happen, but I believe that. That sounds like a thing that could happen.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, again, I'm a big comic book reader, and then obviously it's movies and TV. So you see things like The Walking Dead had a great run, and just still trucking along. But
Right.
Invincible, The Boys, Watchmen, when it came out, both the movie and the series, like there's some great stuff. And for years we've said, like, you don't need to do Batman again. As much as I love Spider-Man, and I really do, you don't need to do another Spider-Man. There's so much great content out there. Give them a chance, and it feels like they're finally paying attention. But for, like you said, but for every good one, you do get like a Badlands or Borderlands. I'm sorry, Borderlands, and
We're gonna get both because like I just read that like Colin Farrell's gonna do Sergeant Rock.
yes,
That is a deep,
yes,
awesome cut.
yes.
That's cool, man. I don't know what you're gonna do with that, but I'm interested, right? Like
We'll
you have
see.
something to say. I'm a Marvel guy. I'm excited to see whatever they do. But their business plan is we're going to bring back the old thing. And I probably will see it and be excited by it and love it. But it's interesting to see that like the biggest bet is on the reboot, yet there's a lot of movement towards things that feel new. And like that economic tension is so interesting to me.
I
Did you
love
hear
it.
the thing about like how much Sinners made last week? Like the
I
whole
did. I did.
and this whole like story that movie is like not going to be profitable. A non-IP movie making like $90 million or what? Like, that's incredible. We should all be just thanking the Lord that this movie's here and people are seeing it. And instead,
Crazy.
we're just, I don't know,
It's criminal.
circular
It's
trends.
gonna win so many awards.
It
It's.
should.
I mean, we're talking about a whole separate but the fact that they're making a bigger deal out of like the deal that Kugler got, and such a
That's the same deal Tarantino got on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that premiered to less box office its first weekend. And I think both are great films, and they all should be there. And we should just stop having these ridiculous conversations about them. Like, don't compare an original movie to Black Panther. It's just not. That's not how it works.
yeah. You know what? It's the news, man. They gotta come up with something. They gotta come up with
News got a
something.
news.
They got a news. I like it. You've touched on it a bit, have worked with some incredibly talented actors, actresses, casts. Was there ever like a piece of advice or lesson that just really stuck with you? You don't have to name drop if you don't want to, but just something that you walked away from that experience and you're just like, holy shit, that's money.
That's the thing right there. You know, the biggest thing that affected me was on a gig when I was talking to a pretty big name actor, and I was asking him about a previous thing he had done, because he had done it with Heath Ledger, and I just was always really just blown away. And it was that he talked to me about him, and he basically demystified him.
Mm.
He was like, and he wasn't talking about my talent or anything. He's like, actually, he's kind of like you. He's really sensitive. He kind of marched to the beat of his own drum. He was like a really good guy. He's often be like just skateboarding around. And it was seeing these people that inspire me that I'm like, oh my God, like, you do that. How do you do that? And it's like, he's a person. He's a person working through it just like you.
Demystify it. I love that.
And I think like that probably more than anything, just like kind of broke down a bunch of walls of like what is possible, what isn't possible, and like shoot your shot, man. Shoot your shot. You don't have a lot of time to do it, so get it done. I feel like that's the one that when I think back on just like profound impact, that one just sits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, the demystify that's I feel like we're kindred spirits, man, because I remember being the guy that like would go to the conventions and I'm like, oh my God, you're starting all these huge, and then I've had the real great opportunity to, again, as a Marvel fan, I've had Clark Gregg on the show. I've had Agent Coulson. We've sat and talked. I grew up loving comedy. Before he passed, I had Louis Anderson on this show, and we talked for an hour about just stuff that made us laugh, and so getting to see these people as people has been the greatest joy of my life. Greg Grunberg, who I loved in Heroes and everything. We text back and forth now. Like he's
I don't know him well, but I've been in a couple places. He's a good dude.
He's just a solid roundabout dude, and it's been the greatest joy of my life to get to become friendly with people, and as much as this is an interview about you, it's also, I always feel like it's like we're on a date. We're just getting to know each other.
We're getting to know each other.
We're feeling it.
We would. Just picking up the check on my Topo Chico.
I got it. Well, it's a business expense. It's fine. We'll write it off.
Don't tell me a business expense.
So, in that vein, what's kind of been like your biggest, that pinch me moment in terms of like working with that person where you're like, I can't believe I'm standing here, I'm witnessing it, and just enjoying it?
I mean, there's something really wild about seeing John Hamm walk by as Don Draper. And the way that guy worked on that show is he was Don when he was there. I don't mean that he was making people call him Don or anything like that. I mean that like
groping women,
Oh, I mean, definitely. No. Lovely guy. No, but I mean, in the suit, hair done. He didn't show up like a modern human. And it almost felt like a ghost would walk by or something like that. Just like, oh, was that Don Draper? Like that's almost like seeing James Bond or something. It's just like that's like a wild thing. Another one for me, this isn't actually meeting the person, but this one to me like just hit home in a wild way. So I'm working on Cleaning Lady. I go to Albuquerque to shoot this thing. It's the first day. I'm getting this fun fitting for cowboy hat. Everything that we're dressing him in is like Scarface by way of this like Southwest Vegas. So we're talking like linen shirts with giant tigers and like a ring with like a lion coming out of it and like crazy like matching like a hat on the cowboy or brim on the cowboy hat matches the boots, matches the belt, matches the cell phone. We're doing all this stuff. And it comes time to get the hat. And they're like, we're going to go to the local haberdashery We're going to go to the one in Albuquerque. It's been around for what feels like 700 years. It's run by the Statler and Waldorf, if you're a Muppets fan, of Albuquerque. Just these like lovely, sweet guys who pretend to hate everybody, but they just love making these hats. And as they're cutting it, they say, we cut the Heisenberg hat for Cranston.
Yeah.
No, you stop. I thought, see, it just caused an earthquake from that. The second that happened, I was like, okay. Well, this is one of the cooler things I'll ever do. I already felt a little close to it just because when I was doing Longmire, I got to use their ADR booth when I was just hanging out near where they shot the show. And I was like, this is pretty cool. No. That's it right there. That's it right there.
Awesome. Oh, I feel I would be freaking out. I'd be the same exact. Oh my God, that's just say my name.
Yeah, well, this is actually my chance to do a public service announcement. If anybody from Warner Brothers or involved with the cleaning lady is listening, I want that hat, man. I wrote you so many nice letters. I have to pay for that. Give me that hat, man. Give me the hat. Let's go. Let's go.
You're reading my script here because I was going to ask you: are there the chances to keep mementos or like over the years? What kind of cool stuff have you acquired? Let's just say, you maybe forgot you had it with you when you left the set. I mean,
because you're not supposed to do that. I remember I was asking about some of that stuff early on with the cleaning lady about this particular show, and they said, one actress came in at one point when she was done with the show, and she just took all the clothes from her wardrobe and just left, and the studio sent her a $5,000 or $6,000, or if it's 5 or 6 figure bill. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is what we're dealing with here. Because you hear other stories about all sorts of things, but really that's A-list celebrities in the 90s. Like I think it was like everyone from Julia Roberts to De Niro had it in their contract that they just get to own anything that they wore the entire time, and their wardrobe they offer it to charity, whatever. It's different now. Everyone's tightening the belt, man. But a couple of things have like accidentally, like I don't know how these things happen.
Sure.
Never a hat though. I wanted my hat from this, and I wanted my hat from Perry Mason, and I had this really cool like Depression era fedora, and I was just like, this thing feels like it's 100 years old. I want this thing, but I've got a really cool lighter from that show. I maybe have cowboy hats ring. Maybe not. I don't know.
Hypothetically, we're saying hypothetically. If you were to have things,
Yeah, it's basically things that just end up in a pocket. And you're just like,
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to.
The same one, remember. Is it? No, this must be kind of similar. It's just no way to know.
I feel you.
Yeah. So little things, but you got to be way more cautious about that stuff than you used to. And the truth is, you got to be smart about it too, because shows have continuity, and if you need that item, that costume piece later, and all of a sudden that's gone, I mean, you're messing up the show. You're messing that up for production. You're messing that up for the audience. So, as much as we're joking about it, like you also want to be really smart about that stuff because
sure,
we're all lucky to be there and get to play with all those fun toys. If I could have kept Cowboy Hat's gun after the end of the season, that would have been cool. A giant, dirty, hairy kind of Magnum. Oh man, dope.
Out of curiosity, and I know the business is changing. Speaking on guns, there's obviously with what's happened, like on the Rust set. I mean, it's a huge deal. A lot of productions have moved into not even doing blanks and doing it all post and CGI and whatnot. When you're working with that as Cowboy Hat, are we talking a real piece? I mean, I would assume it's unloaded. I would assume, but is it prop? Is it where's it fall on the line?
Well, first, I was so happy with how like safe and how serious everyone took that stuff. No one was playing around, and it felt like a really safe, good set. Rust was shot in New Mexico, not far from where they shoot Cleaning Lady, and so I was not there when Rust went down. I think that was during season 3 probably, but it stopped their set too. The community's tight, and those things, they don't happen, and they're not supposed to happen, and there's reasons and ways. So it's definitely in the air. Any set you're on right now, I feel that. I added the extra thing of, most sets they're using rubbers, which is great. Really, for most of the time, you don't need blanks anymore. The CGI is too good. Like a lot of the time, it looks better anyway. And it's simpler and it's safer. So what are we doing here? And a lot of the actors, sometimes myself included, those things are heavy and we actually don't carry them all the time. And then we look like idiots. And actually the whole thing sells. But like, there's a lot of reasons to do it. Cowboy hat, though, he had like a dirty, hairy magnet. So you can't do that rubber because you can see the chamber and you can see whether there's anything in it. And so mine was terrifying, man. Not terrifying, but each time they give it over to you, we're putting a blank in. We're putting a blank in. We're putting a blank in. Like this thing is exactly the thing that gets messed up. That's exactly the one. Everyone else on set has a rubber gun, and here I am holding this heavy thing that if someone has messed up their job is a gun that could kill somebody. And it's, with great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man.
Stop it. Good pull. Oh man, that's so good. So, I mean, we've kind of hinted at, we danced around it. Let's talk about, the cleaning lady. Because, I mean, what a huge show. I mean, it's been like, I mean, it was a hit from day one. I remember, I didn't even see the first season when it aired, but everybody was talking about it. I was like, I gotta go watch the show. What is that experience? But, well, let's go back to the beginning. How do you find out you get the opportunity? Like, talk us through that.
Fun. So it was last fall. I get an audition, it comes in, and I think for every reason in the world, this is not going to happen. First, I just booked another gig. I was going off to go shoot a little horror movie in North Carolina, and the dates were totally conflicting, and so the odds that I could do it anyway. So I think I'll just send in my audition. Then I see the name, Cowboy Hat. That's not a name. And also, I've never, up to this point in my life at the story, I've never really worn a cowboy hat in my life. I have a really long face. And if you don't cut that thing for me, there's gaps here, my ears stick out. It's not a good look. It's just, I'm not made for it. Earlier me, when I got an audition for Cowboy Hat, would have spent the next 20 hours driving around Los Angeles, begging people to borrow their cowboy hat that wouldn't have fit me anyway. Or I would have dropped an ungodly amount of money being like, this will solve it. And then I would have been one of 7,000 people who all been doing the exact same thing for that job. So a big thing for me in my work over the last few years has been really asking that question, like, well, who's the role because you play it? And then if I can answer that, I got a shot at it. And if I don't, then why me anyway? So for that one, I thought, this is fun. Who's named Cowboy Hat without owning a cowboy hat? I mean, we haven't talked about it too much, but I'm a Bay Area Jew. I am not the first person that you think of for cowboy hat, man. It's just not. So I was like, this is fun. There's going to be a whole bunch of dudes who really are that, and they're going to crush that audition for them. But me trying to do that, I'm going to lose. And so my thought was, how do you get a name called Cowboy Hat without a cowboy hat? And my thought is, okay, that means I'm drunk. That means I am drunk. I'm at a Southwest bar. And I'm just starting to play around, and all of a sudden I kind of start talking like Matthew McConaughey, and then maybe I go on the bull for a little, and all of a sudden by the end my friends are like, look, it's Cowboy Hat! Yeah, it's fucking Cowboy Hat, that's wrong. And so this idea of deconstructed ironic cowboy started showing up. So in my tape that I did, I remember, you think of the cowboy, Marlboro Man, smoking sticks, right?
That's right.
I found a nicotine vape, and it was just pulling on that thing, making little smoke rings. And I was like, I'm making a guy who decided he's Cowboy Hat. I'm going to go with just that it's this, guys. And I had a lot of fun doing it, and I got real weird and unhinged. I had a lot of fun with it. And when I got on set, I still remember a couple people came up to me and they said, yeah, you were what we thought, but we decided to hire the craziest guy we saw. It's like, awesome. This is it. This is really fun. So then they worked out with the movie, and I was going back and forth from North Carolina to Albuquerque for a lot of the end of the year. Was lucky enough to be able to do both gigs. Thank you to both productions and teams to help me do it. And it was a lucky, fun time.
That's awesome. And for those that haven't seen it or aren't even much aware of it, give us the pitch. Sell us on the cleaning lady and on Cowboy Hat and why they got to see this.
Okay, quick pitch. Tony is bringing her young son to America because she needs a cure for her son. He's sick. She's a surgeon where she's from, but she doesn't have the licenses to do it here, so she has to get a job as a cleaning lady to help pay for her kid. I think that's something people understand. She witnesses a hit by the cartel and is instantly implicated into becoming their cleaning lady. And they find out over the last couple seasons that she has even more skills than that to offer, given that she's a surgeon and given that she has certain needs for money and her family. And so the story is about her. And it's kind of like Breaking Bad adjacent in that kind of way of like, how does this person try to hold on to their humanity amidst such a violent and dark world? And it's really fun the way they play with it. I come in season 4. Cowboy Hat, I believe, dances in the first episode. Before causing some mischief. And basically, I am the cartel Sicario, which is a really cool title to get to throw on a resume. Never thought that was going to be one of my things, but oh boy, we done it. But yeah, he's the cartel Sicario, and the fun that's going on right now in The Cleaning Lady is that the woman who'd been running the cartel, Ramona, she's in jail. Her brother is taking over. He's got some illegal ties, but he's also trying to maybe make it right, more legit. And so there's a little bit of infighting between the two of them that's been going on. And it seems like maybe I might be working for both of them just a little bit. So there's some fun tensions that are happening there. I don't like Tony too much. I don't trust her. Trust her as far as you can throw her, and I have never thrown her. So at least not yet. So yeah, no, there's ton of plenty, and any show where you in the first episode get a dance in turquoise cowboy boots. And I mean, this isn't a spoiler because this already happened 4 weeks ago. And then like roll up in a bandana and throw a Molotov cocktail into a car and have it explode and then like basically leave cackling. I'm having the best time. The show's so good. The actors are so good. I get to have more fun than a lot of people. All those other characters, they have sick kids to worry about and loved ones. I'm like, I got no attachments here. I'm here for a short time, not a long time. I'm here for a good time. So every time I come on, I think people are like, oh, this will be fun. And who's going to die?
I gotta say, as much as we always root for the heroes, I can only imagine the villains. Those are the most fun to play. Those are the ones you really get, because we're all day to day, we're the heroes of our own story, right? We're trying to do the right thing and take care of the wife and the kids and pay the bills, do the job, but the villains, man, those are the guys that cheat, lie, steal, cut corners, find the easy way, and we like to see them get their comeuppance. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we do. I had a therapist who one time said, "You know what acting is for you?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "It's a controlled burn of a human experience." And I was like, "Oh, you mean like the firefighters do? A controlled burn where this is a very unsafe thing that we are doing in a very safe way right now." And I'll tell you, the villains are more fun. You get to be selfish. You get to be greedy. You get to jump out of a car and shoot the tires out. You get to do crazy stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'd also love to play a good guy too. But this villain era that I found myself in, it ain't bad.
And on a show like this, speaking of throwing a Molotov cocktail, how much of it is practical? How much of it is, After Effects and CGI and things like that?
I mean, the real answer is it is such a wild mix. And what we're doing on set as we do it is basically doing it in different pieces that you're able to stitch together in different ways. So if you talk about the car blowing up in the first episode of the season, they had 3 different cars. They got the one, 4 cars. They have the one that you drive that actually has to work, and she drives in the scene and parks and has to do all that. There's one that you can light on fire, and it's treated for fire, so nothing will explode. No, there's 3. And then the third one is the one where basically everything's been taken out of it, so we can blow it up, and it's had a whole bunch of explosives put in it. And so you're just working in layers, right? So sometimes you go and you're really just handling the driving, and nothing's going to blow. Another time you got blanks in your gun, but glass is going to explode, the tires are going to explode, and we have to get it right on that one because we don't have a bunch of those. And then on another one, the car's going to be on fire. It's not going to explode because there's a lady in there who's covered in flame retardant stuff, and we're going to just light her on fire for 30 seconds or so. That's the scariest part. That's where everyone is on their stuff, and you don't mess around. You don't mess around with any of it, but especially there. And then the last one, the people who have to do it handle their jobs. We all basically get behind a window and get our phones out. And we're like, oh shit, it's gonna blow. And I'm always shocked that they don't tell anyone in like surrounding areas that that's what we're doing. Maybe they told the neighbors, but like there's a freeway right there and just a car is exploding. And people are like, it's Albuquerque.
Yeah. Like,
I
hey,
feel like I'm
is
shaking
Breaking Bad
Chinatown.
back on? So
Like,
they're filming more
Albuquerque,
episodes.
guy. It's Albuquerque, cowboy hat. It's
Oh.
Albuquerque.
Are there and I know, man, we're already at time. Can I ask you a few more questions? We got you
Yeah,
for a couple more
let's go.
minutes.
Yeah,
We'll do a
speed
lightning
round.
round. We'll do a fast round. I appreciate your time. I don't want to take advantage. Uh, any memorable moments from set that like we could talk about now? Maybe even something that didn't make the final cut. Is there anything that like you're like, oh man, I did this
Ooh.
fucking thing and it just didn't make it?
There was one scene that they cut, and with stuff when you play a supporting character, you get it. It's like the show's about her, right? So like it's a cool moment for you, but does it further her story? Sometimes that gets complicated. So I think it was in episode 3. I think it was the third one. There's episode 4. There's a big confrontation where we bring Tony over to the Coliseum, and we really we question her and have it out. And then they send her out while they try to figure out what they're going to do with her. And I'm asked to kind of keep watch over her. And, my only run-ins with her are pretty scary and violent up to this point. And often she's not listening to me. So my character is like, why are we trusting her? What are we doing here? And then she gets a phone call. Turns out it's her like lawyer, but she's like, pretend it's your kid. And so she's trying to get away with this thing in front of me. And she's talking about her kid. And I got the darkest scene after that was so fascinating where I'm like, are you saying to your kid? Tell me about what you're saying to him. And to me, I'm like, oh, this is so scary. This means I'm going to eventually like have a scene with this kid and I'm going to threaten this kid and I'm going to sing this song to this kid. And it turned out that they just thought it was like a really scary thing for me to ask her, which is true.
Yeah.
But we never had, at least not yet. I'm not singing to her kid. And so, you know what? You can get rid of it. But boy, man, I think that was one of the most menacing things I've ever done on TV is look at a woman and say like, tell me what that song is.
I got goosebumps when shit.
So that's really fun. The thing that I keep begging them to do, we'll see whether it happens or not. But I'm like, I gotta be dancing on top of a bar at some point. You giving me these boots? We gotta honky tonk it up at some point. This has got to happen.
Little cowboy ugly.
Yeah.
The other way. Okay, quick ones. When you're not on set, what is your go-to way to unwind? Like, do some people game, binge watch, travel? What's your way to unwind?
Binge watch TV with my wife, check out a Warrior game with my friends, go to the park or the zoo with my daughter. Like those are go-tos. If I'm hanging out alone, take me to a movie theater. Give me that. And then the other thing that I spend a lot of my time doing is when I'm not on set, I run an acting studio. So I'm working with other actors. I'm coaching them on their auditions. We're occasionally having classes and things like that. So it's just kind of a fun way to keep doing it,
That's it. Stay loose. You always got to be, but it's a constant, it's a muscle. You got to always exercise it. If you could guest star on any show that you want, you got the golden ticket. What's got your number one right now?
Okay, if I can only get one, we're doing White Lotus, because if you guest star on the White Lotus, you are going to get probably the coolest scenes with the most amazing people, and everyone in the world is going to watch it and sign me. Also, I get to go to Hawaii or Thailand or Italy for 3 months, so sign me up. But if you're talking about not that show, because everyone wants that, everyone wants all these, but The Pit. I brought it up earlier. That show, man, just reminds me of what's good in people, and there's every type of person and human experience on that show. And so there's a place for everyone, and also to have the controlled burn of seeing what happens when everyone has to share space. You know what's cool about that show is it's almost a single set show. So everything's in the hospital, which means instead of spending money on some of the fancy locations, which is great too, there's heartbeats in every scene. You will see like 30 extras in the background who are all living out their lives as they do this, rather than just like, here's 2 people on a green screen. There's good stuff you can do there, but there's something so cool about people like dealing with each other.
It feels alive.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this might be a good place to end it. I did Perry Mason, and every time they saw me, I was the gun dealer. There was something like smoking outside of my hovel, and I remember the director said, "I'm bored with that. We're playing with HBO, so we get to do fun things. Come back in a few hours." I said, "Great, I'll come back in a few hours." The town is now full of like 300 people. There are people in rags negotiating. There's like a blacksmith working on something. There are kids chasing after mangy dogs. And they're like, yeah, we wanted to see the city. So we just filled it for you. And now you're going to walk through. We got like 7 cameras on cranes. And you're just going to walk through smoking a cigarette. You like some of them. You don't like some of them. And then at the end, you pull the gun and yell at the guy. I was like, are you kidding me? This whole world like came alive in 4 hours. And like all of these people are here for some walking shot I get to do. How lucky am I? So you really try to include each of those people and thank them for their time there and enjoy the fact that like you're walking through a video game in that moment. Like you like gaming, imagine that all of a sudden you are walking through the town and everyone is there and you're a part of it too. It's like Westworld. It's nuts.
Everyone knows you're the main character, you know. Don't look him in the eye.
They're like, oh man, he's the man in black. Watch out.
Oh my God. Yes. We will call it a wrap. One other thing, you said you did a podcast. Just name it out there. Name drop it. I want to find this, man.
So it was for a couple of years. I was doing it as part of an acting studio I was working with. It's called the Industry Town Podcast because LA is an industry town. It's a one industry town. So it's basically interviewing actors, creative agents, all those people on process like this, really just like actors on actors having that conversation. And you know, if I kept that thing going for like 6 more months, one of the biggest entertainment podcasts in LA is called The Town with Matt Bellany. That dude would have had to pay me. But I quit 6 months before that.
It's all about who you know when you know. It's luck, man. It's all luck, right?
Yeah.
I want to thank my guest, Brian Norris, dude. You have been incredible. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go check out, find the old podcast recordings. Yeah, give us some views.
It's out there.
It's out there. Go check out The Cleaning Lady on Fox, season 4. We got to get more Cowboy Hat.
It's also on Hulu, streaming on Hulu. So you want to catch up seasons 1, 2, and 3, plus the most recent episodes. They're up a day after. So we got an episode tonight coming on in like 50 minutes. It'll be on Hulu tomorrow morning. So check it out. I hang out with a Pomeranian and hilarity ensues.
If that's not enough reason to sell you on it, I don't know what is.
You need to spin off a cowboy hat and the pom-pom? I think you do. Yes. I think that this pair is a good one.
Yes. Was he a tough acting partner?
I was told early on that he's very experienced. He's been doing this for many years, and you have to hold him by his butt at all times. Otherwise, he will be upset.
I'm sure you've heard that about a lot of your co-stars. I'm sure.
I mean, a few that I mentioned today.
Awesome, guys. I'm going to toss it to a break while I go say goodbye to our guest. We'll have some more show for you right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Brian Norris, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, man. We will